Hello everyone, this is Mallika Boobna and welcome back to yet another episode of Brick by Brick. Well, I'm back in Singapore today. I landed this morning an hour ago and I have somebody very, very special today on the podcast with me. Since I'm the Singapore country director for Marrfa, I only focus on the Singapore market. And I came across somebody who has come up in conversations time and again over the last 6-7 months on my trip in Singapore. And what I was told was somebody in Singapore you need to meet, somebody that goes to Dubai very often as well, somebody who has been here forever and somebody who's one of the iconic real estate agents, consultants, advisors that has been in Singapore forever and is a trusted partner for many, many names here. Well, I met her on Instagram briefly, like we all do in today's times, and she is with me today here. Well, please welcome Sunita Gill to Brick by Brick.
Thank you, Mallika. You're too kind. Very, very kind words. But yes, we met on Instagram, which I think is the perfect dating site for businesswomen like us.
Yes.
Because we resonate with people that share the right messages, stories. And I was absolutely hooked on your stories because I was just like I've mentioned, I have been on my Dubai journey as well in the last 3 years.
Yes, I forgot to mention, not only is Sunita from Singapore, so born, bred, raised, has a beautiful family all living here. She does come to Dubai very often. What's interesting is when she texted me on Instagram, she was in Dubai, I was in Singapore. And I'm like, okay, let's see which country we meet in first. And we met in Dubai for the first time, I think.
Yeah.
But not only is she in real estate since 2-3 decades now. She's also
not that old,
but very, very wise and experienced.
At least 2 decades, yes.
2 decades,
yeah.
And she's also been a buyer in Dubai. So not only does she know about the Singapore market, but she also knows Dubai very, very well from a broker and a buyer perspective, which I think is so cool, which is what we will uncover today on Brick by Brick. Right. For her to understand how did she feel about the Dubai market, how was her journey navigating as a buyer, but also where does she see Dubai heading and how does that compare to Singapore and is Dubai how Singapore was 10 years ago. So we'll uncover all of that today.
Thank you. Yes, I think Dubai is where Singapore was 15 years ago, 20 years ago. The opportunities are so boundless. I mean, if you're not in the Dubai market, now soon you're gonna lose out a lot. Dubai is not an option. It is something that you need to get yourself into sooner than later. The market is moving very quickly. I think year on year your market has increased by about 10 to 15% on the prices. So it's really not an option. It became not an option for me and my husband. It was more of the get in it before you lose the opportunity. And I'll be very honest, I mean, we looked at Dubai because Singapore has certain restrictions of property portfolio expansion, at least for the Singapore citizens and foreigners locally. We have issues like TDSR, which is the total debt service ratio, which banks cannot give us leverage if we buy our second and third property in Singapore, which was a restriction for us as a younger family. Singapore obviously has higher taxes for your second and third property, which was again factored into my property purchase and was not giving me the return on investments that I was looking at. I was looking to buy properties for my children. And being the fact that I have a 9 and 11-year-old, my goal for my 2 daughters was to buy them a property and hand them the keys when they're 21.
That's so sweet.
Right.
It's adorable.
And I was looking at where is the best place in the world to do that. So honestly, my husband and I went for multiple Dubai conversations with brokers in the last 2 years or more. And as a broker, what I struggled with was clear, non-salesy information, which is what attracted you to me actually, because when you shared your messages on Instagram, they were facts. As brokers, we can sieve between the sell me versus the facts, right? And what you shared was from a position of truth, a position of facts. And Kaiser and I, my husband, we've been in the Singapore real estate market for me at least 18 years. Kaiser's coming up to 15 years. We're very data driven. Numbers don't lie. Facts don't lie. and we believe in a relationship business, I rather tell you not to buy something now because the numbers are wrong, but then you'll come back to me later when the numbers work out, and then we look at the portfolio together, which is the message you gave me. Now coming back to finding my journey in real estate. So like I mentioned, after speaking to, I think we spoke to more than 40 brokers.
No way.
Yeah.
That's exhausting.
Yes, we did. It is exhausting, but it was a huge learning curve.
Yes.
Which was, for me, the more you learn, the more you earn.
Always.
Always. Point blank, my motto in life, Warren Buffett, which was a huge learning journey and an amazing one. And the good thing is I had the opportunity to go visit Dubai more than 6 times this year alone, which is where I could put all this information of what I learned into what I saw. So I'll be very honest. The first or second time after whatever we learned, we went to Dubai. We saw cranes everywhere coming out of the airport.
That's what everyone tells me.
And Kaiser and I were like, damn,
oh my God.
There's so much going on. But wait, let's look at the numbers. Dubai is in a huge undersupply market.
It is.
So being in statistics and knowing about the opportunity for growth in real estate, you buy what's in an undersupply. You don't buy what's in a good supply or an oversupply. Singapore, we're running at an adequate supply, meaning we need about 21,000 homes yearly. We are delivering 21,000 homes.
Like very efficient. That's right.
It's
on
safe.
track. Right.
We are in a buy to stay market. We're not in, at least now, we're not very heavy on a buy to invest market. Okay, because there's safety, there's security, and you know that your wealth is it's a big country in wealth preservation.
100%.
Which is why most of our foreign investors still look at Singapore as a very safe haven for their market. What you put in is really what is going to diminish overnight. We move at least with inflation, if not more than that. We do appreciate by at least 3 to 5%, but not like what Dubai is appreciating. I mean, I looked at the numbers and I was in shock. Our rental yields are 2 to 4%. Dubai is averaging on 5 to 8%. My investment is at 15%. And I bought a 2-bedroom.
What did you buy? Can you tell everyone what did you buy?
Rather not yet, but I'll share that it was a 2-bedroom in the Business Bay Area, because as a foreigner as well, my motto is to buy insurance if I go into a new country. And when I say insurance, it means safe areas. Right? So for me, what's safe in Dubai? Actually, anywhere in the world, right? I think this is a real estate broker's 101.
I know exactly what you will say because that's what I say to my clients as well.
It's the 101.
I know exactly what you will say.
The CBD, the downtown,
100%.
and Marina.
100%.
These 3 areas, in my opinion, you go to London, you go to New York, you go to Tokyo, you go to Singapore. These 3 areas are your fundamentals of the world.
And every city has a downtown. Every city has a CBD. And I tell my clients exact same things. I think that's why we connect so much. Because I'm like, if there's a commercial tower, you will have demand. People are working there. They want to live near where they work.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
logic.
And I have 2 kids as well, right? So I always look at what makes sense for, let's say, when they become women who are 21 years old. They want to work somewhere downtown and they want to be able to commute and stuff like. I mean, our needs change as we grow up. Right? Like now I'm a mom. So if I were to move to Dubai, I look at something closer to schools because that proximity is really important. We can travel, but it's hard for the kids, right? And Dubai's traffic is a pain. Okay. but having said that, drivers are really cheap. So,
and they drive nice cars and they're very cheap.
Nice cars and they're cheap, which is such an amazing thing for me because I'll just sit back and do my work while I'm being driven. So I think there are a lot of positive plus points in Dubai. Personally, I in the last year, I've had 8 clients who purchased properties in Dubai. Not because I am licensed not to sell Dubai property. I've worked with multiple partners who I trust. And they've always had me on the same WhatsApp groups as the Dubai brokers because they feel that Singapore comes from a very high level of trust and credibility. And now because I've met amazing brokers like yourself, I just send them your way and I know they're in good hands. And I always tell them that, they speak my language, so you can rest assured that they are there to deliver. And what I like about the way that I've seen how you're not looking at the information to sell, but I think what I've seen is that an investment means you need to exit. And you are sending a message that we will buy in together, we will exit together, and we grow the portfolio together. That's where it's a huge value add which people don't see. There are multiple brokers to buy with. Who's going to help you realize the profits?
I think that's a big problem. I think people don't realize what sort of, like when they enter Dubai, because the barrier to entry is not that high.
Right.
And I think every second person you meet on the street would potentially sell real estate.
Yeah.
The problem is that they exit real estate within 6 months. If they close one deal, they might make the year paycheck and they're like, okay, I'm gone now. A lot of people do it for the commission check and then they leave.
Yeah.
Other people don't even know if they're going to be in Dubai for the next 3 years. A lot of buyers sometimes enter Dubai and they ask for kickbacks.
It's funny you say that, right? I think when I buy property, the first thing I want to interview the broker about, is this your career? Is this what you do for a living? Because it makes a huge difference if that person is going to be there with you when they're pitching that 3-year exit and they're going to be the one selling for you. And I mean, coming back to kickbacks and everything, I think it's not an unfamiliar thing globally. It's not that Singapore, I would say we're very highly regulated, which we don't see that happening. Whether or not it happens, I'm not in a position to comment because I've never witnessed it. But in Dubai, I do hear it. But I always ask the client something when they ask, when we talk about kickbacks. Is that couple of $1,000 what you value so much versus getting the right information? I mean, we're talking about exiting and making hundreds and thousands of dollars versus your $20,000 kickback.
And you invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what you said, you have not experienced it, right?
Right.
Neither have I, because I think the clients that we deal with, they understand the value we bring to the table.
Yeah.
And also, I have to say that in Singapore, no one has ever. I've been doing this for a year only in Singapore. And I've done like double-digit transactions so far now. Nobody has asked me for a kickback. And I think on one dinner, because we do celebrity dinners, and they're like, I would rather have a nice dinner with you knowing that you come to Singapore so often as opposed to being with somebody who gives me back a couple $1,000s or something and then just goes off and doesn't answer me.
Yeah.
So I think it's what they value. And I think some people forget the long-term
Mallika,
picture.
it's a people's business. It's relationships. We value that. I've got the biggest, I wouldn't say monetary deals from clients I've been honest to, but I've got the biggest lives advisors which have saved my life, which have given me medical advice, which have become friends, which, I mean, these are priceless things that you cannot buy, you know. So like you, I mean, I also take very good care of clients like they are family.
And friends. And you want to hang
absolutely.
out. Like I literally, 1880 shut down this week, which is so sad. It's so sad.
Yeah.
And I think I recently had gotten a membership and my clients had known.
Right.
Sunita, I had gotten more than 5 messages, I think 2 days ago. But they didn't know that I might not know. And they're like, hey, it's shut down. I hope it's okay. We can meet somewhere else. But like, you can do this and that.
Yeah.
But they were thinking of me because they knew I had gotten a recent membership.
Right.
And you would not get that from just like some random person. Like they really think of you. They know you and they want to take you out for dinners and lunches and show you more of Singapore, show you more of Dubai.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so special.
Yeah, and I think Dubai has become more regulated, which is something I personally appreciate. With RERA in place, with the Dubai real estate courts in place, it really takes care of me. Dubai used to, I mean, I'll be very honest. A lot of people talk about Dubai and they go like, it's in a bubble. What bubble are we talking about? What bubble are we talking about? Seriously. I think anybody that wants to make a claim of a certain statement like that has to have certain facts. I follow the best real estate ambassadors in Dubai because I have an interest in Dubai, obviously. Look at the numbers, look at the statistics. Dubai is severely under-delivering for the next 10, 15 years based on the economic agenda. Like Sheikh Mohammed said, Dubai is a place which is an engineered city. It's not an organic city. They are running based on maps, timelines, and dreams that they are putting down in paper and making it work. Similar to our senior late minister, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, when Singapore was a brand new city. We were an engineered city. Now we are an organic city after many years. He had to put things on paper to deliver and make it work. And that's why we're so where we are today as a global city that's got so much of confidence. And I think with Sheikh Mohammed's vision, that's exactly what he's doing for Dubai. I was surprised looking at the statistics, coming back to the cranes. And the first thing I did was look at statistics numbers. Dubai has a population now of 3.9 million, as you just rightly said. And you sold 266,000 homes last year. Singapore is 6 million and we sold 21,000 homes last year.
And we delivered 20,000 homes and we had more than 700,000 people who moved to Dubai last year.
And you were short last year by 5,000. From what I see and from all the knowledge that I get from my mentors in Dubai and stuff like that, it's a 1/3 market, meaning you are only delivering 1/3 of what the country needs. What does that mean in real estate?
Opportunity.
Money. Opportunity.
No, it's serious. I think people don't look at facts. They're like, oh my God, there's so many homes or off-plan launches being delivered. And I tell them the exact same thing. The country is ruled by the ruler.
Look at numbers. That's it.
And we would not allow for the launches to happen if we didn't need them. Like we have the D33 economic agenda. We have the 2040 urban plan. And Singapore's at 6 million. We want to be 5.4 million by 2030. We're nowhere near.
I think you will
exceed that number.
To like 8 million.
100%. And we only have 234,000 houses in total being delivered in the next 5 years. That's still not enough. So there is no oversupply. Like we really are in undersupply and people don't look at numbers. They look at the cranes and the off-plan launches.
No, I think instead of looking at all that, you really, really need to look at numbers because all investments, fundamentals go by demand and supply. So, I mean, coming back to the market, we can buy something emotionally if we're living there. Buy something you love. I always tell my clients, right? It's so funny I say that. When you want to buy something that doesn't have a meaning, are you going to live and die there because you appreciate every single day you are in that apartment? But if you're buying for investment, first things first, define the meaning of investment to you. What does that mean? To me, it should outperform the other assets that we are looking at. I mean, we're talking stocks and bonds and all the other investment assets. Real estate investments, to me, should yield at least 8 to 10% or more at minimum. If it's anything less than that, do it in the stock market. It's 7%. Stock markets are averaging at 7%. Dubai, on the other hand, which is why I also tell my clients, market out there say it's performing at 15%. But I always tell them, let's just take 10. Okay, anything more is a bonus, and it's always more money is always nice to have.
100%.
You know, so just go in with the mindset that even if it can give you a baseline of 10, you're very safe, you're very good. Dubai has great escrows now, which keeps everything safe. I think there's so much of in my opinion, you should have something in both in Dubai and in Singapore because it's really Singapore doesn't have capital gains tax. Dubai has no personal income tax.
Or capital gains tax.
And if you don't want to uproot your family there, work with professionals that can handle your portfolio, who's not just there to sell to you, but who's on the ground. What I really like about you is you're on the ground every day. I can ask you, I randomly send her messages so this person said this, what do you think? And then she sends me her whole idea. And I was like, yeah, smart girl.
I love how updated you are with the Dubai market. Like you're on the pulse. I think you know more about Dubai than most of the brokers in Dubai while knowing so much more about Singapore. And I think that just comes from sheer passion.
It is. And I think it comes from... In today's day, Mallika, we need to know about global.
Exactly.
We need to know
100%.
about global real estate. Whenever I travel with my family, our mission at least once a year is to go to a new market. Like London, I met Daniel Daggers, who was on Buying London. When we go to New York, I meet up with some New York brokers. And I always make it a point to make global partnerships. Because see, I get calls and messages from my global partner friends every other week because the client is coming to Singapore or going to Dubai or going to London. I just connected my client with a broker who I used to work with in Sotheby in Dubai in 2018.
That's wild.
Who's now in Switzerland, and my client wants to buy in Geneva.
That's wild.
We need to be a part of that.
100%.
And for me, I live, eat, breathe real estate like you do. And it's so ingrained and we're passionate about it, which is amazing, right? Because again, the more you learn, the more you earn. 100%. I can't say that enough.
And if you look at the top 1%, they look at global markets, not just a Singapore or a Dubai.
Yeah,
and they want to compare a Dubai or Singapore to the US and Switzerland and London.
I
and
hear
you
good
need
things
to know
about Abu
it.
Dhabi, which is something I really want to learn next as well.
No, Abu Dhabi, so many companies are opening in Abu Dhabi. They announced Disney World. There's so much happening, new museums. And Etihad Railway will connect Abu Dhabi to Dubai within 30-35 minutes, which is going to be life-changing. They're also opening a casino, which came into the news last week.
How's the Blue Metro making a change?
So we are announcing 3 lines.
Right.
Yellow, pink, and blue. And with the Blue Metro, we have seen a 30% rent increase in 7 communities in Dubai. And these are all the affordable areas. So Dubai Land, Silicon Oasis, Academic City.
An investor that I know just spent 40 million dirhams buying into Dubai Silicon Oasis a couple of days ago.
And what's interesting is it's IT tech free zone. And it was leasehold and now it's freehold.
Right.
So there is such a big change in Dubai where we allow freehold partnerships globally. We allow people to buy into Dubai and own a piece of it. That metro lines and new railways and new roads and transport network like makes investors money and reinforces their belief in Dubai.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So buying into Dubai is amazing for properties and stuff like that. But are there equal opportunities for jobs? Let's say people buy into Dubai because we're all looking at the golden visa, right? The golden visa is tagged to a property. And one thing that I want to say is that I found out that if you sell the property, the visa goes with it.
Of course,
so
it's linked.
I think that's something a lot of consumers were not fully aware.
I actually have a PDF and that's the first thing I informed them.
Yeah, so that was something which honestly when I bought my property
and
with the golden, I knew, but I didn't know the complexity of if it goes with the property.
What happens after? How do I transfer?
What happens to me, right? I then have to apply for a brand new visa. And what if I choose to exit my property and then what happens? But speaking to some corporate services, they also say that you can apply for your own visa, but it's a 2-year visa. So you can actually not be stranded, so to say. But I think you have solutions with corporate service companies that can help the clients, which is great. Coming back to the question on jobs. So much of demand, so many people coming in. What kind of jobs do you see are the biggest jobs that Dubai is offering at the moment?
That's one question I get asked every single day because everybody that 90% of my clientele that buys through me, they do want golden visa with it. And these people already have a talent golden visa.
Of course.
It's another backup for their backup that they want a property linked to golden visa, which is bizarre, but also smart.
Okay.
And they ask me, like, we are getting the golden visa. We're very settled in Singapore, but Mallika, what's next? Like, we are looking at Dubai and I have these people who have bought through me. I had a client who has bought like this really expensive property in November last year. Never been to Dubai. Sunita came for the first time last week. I showed him around his own property that he didn't remember. And he's like, yeah.
Was this Dubai Hills?
I sold him the property in Uptown JLT in November.
Right.
Really cool property.
Yeah.
And he had come to Dubai for his golden visa because the entire family is relocating to Dubai in July. And he still works in Singapore because he doesn't see the same opportunity in Dubai to answer your question.
Right.
But when I met him for breakfast, I think last week in Marina, he goes, yeah, I have 18 interviews and 18 things. And I'm like, but you have such a nice job in Singapore. He's like, yeah, but in the future, if something opens up, I'll be very happy to make that move since my family will also move. And what's interesting is up a year ago when I came here to Singapore for the first time, honestly, we didn't have much or many jobs for people or equal incentive jobs.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, there's 2 sides. I have sold, I think, 4 or 5 properties last month to people who were from Mallika Bank, Incred. I don't know, but Incred Capital just acquired Arrow Capital in the IFC.
Okay.
And now they have opened up 2 offices in Dubai as of last month, opening up so many jobs. Mallika Bank just took up, I know this from clients because this is like source information. Mallika Bank just took up another office space in the IFC and opened up 25 to 30 seats. What I'm saying is a lot more companies are now opening offices. And you know what's crazy, Sunita? When I spoke to this client last week,
I'm just remembering to tell you something about the Dubai chambers that I work with in Singapore, and their mandate is to bring in 70 to 100 companies from Singapore into Dubai.
I was about
and that
to say,
will bring a lot of...
So basically, I come here to do sales trips to talk about Dubai and what Dubai has to offer. Little did I know that more than Dubai property road shows or trips, we have DIFC roadshows in Singapore, where DIFC comes here and talks about how they can make Singapore companies' lives easy by giving them a trade license in Dubai with an office space and have them operate their office in Dubai
Wow,
as
I
well.
didn't know that.
And I got to know this last week, and I'm like, this is wild. Meaning that not only are we looking at Dubai from investment or possible future relocation, people are now looking at Dubai for immediate second office space as well, and opening up a few seats to test out the waters and then potentially move more
your
people.
corporate tax is only 9%. It's a no-brainer.
No
to be
income
honest.
tax, no capital gains tax.
Yeah, and for
also,
companies, corporate tax of 9% is amazing.
and we have free zones. So some people don't even pay that corporate tax. So it's a win-win.
Wow.
And I think a lot of families do want to have, I think fundamentally there has been a shift. Earlier people were looking at Dubai only to invest. I think now they love Singapore and they love the safety and the lifestyle. They say it's easy. I'm like, what do you love about Singapore? It's just easy, Mallika. It's just convenient.
I've been born and bred in Singapore. I can tell you, yes, it's very easy. It's very convenient. But it's pretty flat as well. I mean, we've had that easy, convenience, routine, hospitality. There have been a lot more F&B closing down. What I love about Dubai is that I can come for every trip and try a different restaurant and every trip, and I still have not finished trying places. Like, it's amazing. Like, they're constantly the best hospitality in Dubai, which for me, it's fun. Like, even for the kids, they are like, we can have something new to try all the time in Dubai.
Yes.
And what I really like about Dubai is Singapore has a lot of, like, our downtown is Orchard Road, so we're very central. Dubai has many different downtowns if you want. Like, when we went to Dubai Mall, it was so massive that it got so tiring.
But
I love that I went to Dubai Hills Mall.
Stunning.
And it was equally gorgeous, and I got everything I would want. And what's amazing is that I feel really safe and that I have 2 daughters. To me, that's a very high priority. My husband Kaiser moved from Canada, North America, which typically he got freaked out when I left my handbag on a but in Dubai,
same thing. It's like Singapore.
We left 5,000 US when we were traveling from Abu Dhabi back to Dubai, and he left his pouch in the driver's car. The guy came half an hour later
and gave it
back to him.
Without wanting anything in return.
Without anything. And I'm sorry, it didn't look like the driver was very affluent financially, but yet that level of honesty.
It's Dubai.
I was very, very surprised,
Yeah.
Which is why, we even visited schools when we came because clients want to know the level of schools that are, the quality. And this girl sent me a whole PDF on schools, not being a mom herself, which was very impressive.
Thank you.
I must say that, that makes a difference because you actually, I was going to use another word, but you actually care about clients from a holistic point of view. Family is important. Schools and education are just
big for them.
As a mother, my daughters go to one of the top local schools here. And when we went for the school tours, we were blown away. We're talking AI, we're talking pastoral care, we're talking financial literacy. These are things which I constantly tell the principals in the schools here, we need to
incorporate
this. Dubai is way miles apart. Like,
I
see my friends' kids going to the World Economic Summit that happened in Abu Dhabi last year as an excursion. Like, wow.
We used to go to the zoo and the parks, and now they go to these summits. It's crazy.
And when we came to Dubai, we took the kids to the Love at Abu Dhabi.
It's beautiful.
In my opinion, it's a place that everybody should be looking at with a start of a property investment. And, if they choose to relocate and move, I think to be open to much
100%.
more opportunities.
I had a client and he applied for a PR, I think twice. He couldn't get it.
Yeah.
We bought 2 properties in Dubai, and then I think last month he's like, Mallika, I got a PR. I'm like, great. And he's like, this is amazing, because in the future he looks at Dubai as possible relocation. But for now he's very happy that he is in Singapore and he has gotten PR.
Yeah.
I think now people
PRs
look
have
at
got
both.
a lot more difficult to get a PR in Singapore.
100%.
I can tell you, because I deal with the high net worth individuals. It's not the amount of money you have. It's really a resume that you put together for the government, and they look into a certain quota system. You could be a family with sons for the national service, or you could be contributing to the society. I mean, I know a friend who's a ER medical doctor who didn't get her PR. And when that happens, she did come to me and she's like, let's look at Dubai. Because I think Singapore is great at safeguarding the country's well-being and all that, but people also feel a sense of detachment when they don't get certain
It's like not
things.
welcoming enough, right?
They're very welcome, but they want grounding. I think people want grounding, right? So Singapore has grounded a lot of people. The taxes, the 60% foreigner stamp duty was put into place to protect the interests of the people against the money laundering or against the property price index going up. Singapore was moving up very quickly. Why that happened was because our property price index went to a double digit of more than 10%, and we are in a very stable economy.
And you want to protect that.
We want to protect that. We want to provide equal opportunity to the locals and the foreigners. And we appreciate foreign talent. I mean, my children, my family wouldn't have the opportunities and the global knowledge if the foreigners were not in Singapore. But at the same time, it has been a deterrent, a real deterrent to the foreign clients coming in, where 60% is a huge thing to look at. So as a broker myself, I think it's important to offer solutions on the property portfolio, like we said earlier, globally. I think every country, every economy, every place comes with their good, bads, and uglies.
Right, 100%.
I mean, even buying into Dubai, I'm not going to say any names and everything, but there are definitely developers, in my opinion, which I think are doing the right thing. There are developers, in my opinion, who are more mass market. And with all due respect, it works for different people.
It has something for everyone, right?
It has something for everyone, So there's no, if you want uber luxury, you get super luxury. I had a client from Dubai, right? She came 2 years ago and we went looking at places, and she's like, everything's so subtle here. There's no extra concierge, or there's no extra this. And it's very quiet luxury in Singapore. Dubai, you can now I've noticed that you can have either the super bling bling home, or you can have quiet luxury if you want to.
Yeah, people think it's only bling, and it's not true.
It's not.
It's not true.
It's not. I love the quality of some developers. I mean, some of my favorites are the Omniats, Imars, Mirrors, Ellington. I've not visited too many to understand how it works, but I did like what I saw.
No, I know. I remember I came to Singapore for the first time for work, and I was dressed a certain way. And then people were like, "You're from Dubai, right?" And I'm like,
"Really?
Yeah." And
what way was that?
it was a few brands. Okay. And I think it was a bit obvious. And I think now I dress a bit like...
Singapore is quite brandy too, I think.
The people that I met, they look at me and they're like, "This is very Dubai, Mallika, you have to tone it down for Singapore." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, coming back to that, is Dubai all that Dubai bling? So I'll be very honest. When we first wanted to invest into Dubai, the first thing a lot of people said to us was, it's too blingy, it's too superficial. Is that a place
fake.
where... Yeah. So then Dubai bling came out, obviously, and that reinforced everything.
I know.
But I actually, a very close friend's brother was stationed there for 2 years. He's an accountant from a London firm, and he was there with the Dubai firm. And he is super down to earth, toned down. So when I met him for lunch, I was like, "So is Dubai very bling? Because Neil, that's so not you." He was like, "No, not at all. It's not bling at all. We stay like in Dubai Hills area. I go with my wife and my daughter to the beach. We do our own thing. The weather is amazing. It's great. I don't see brands. I live my life very comfortably. The weather is perfect here, unlike London that's so grey." So I think it's really where a friend of mine as well who relocated from Singapore. She's a journalist, and her child goes to a school which has a blend of both, the bling and the non-bling. And she said it's really where you want to put yourself.
Yeah, you choose your own pocket of people.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think when I first came from London, because I was in London before I moved to Dubai.
Yeah.
And my family's been there since 2016, but I have always been a London girl before I moved to Dubai. I had the perception, even my family was there, but I was still like, "Oh my God, it's not for me. There's only Indian people there and it's all blingy and this and that." It was so bad.
What's wrong with Indian people?
No, it's not. It's not that. I just felt like it's very much like India, like glorified India.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've come from an international background and I did not want to be back into home, right?
Yeah.
And I think when I came to Dubai, my perception changed. And I think when you go there as a tourist, it's very different because you stay in these hotels at the Palm. You go to these restaurants because you're there to have fun.
Yeah.
When you live there as a local, as a resident, your life is different, same as Singapore. And you go to like local places that are non-blingy, where the food is good, and you go where there's no rooftop view.
I went for a biryani in Karama because it was so good.
It's so
but
good.
The driver got a shock of his life. He's like, Madam, you're going. So Karama is like your little India, which
like
is a
South
bit,
Hall of London, your little India of Singapore.
Something like that, yeah. But it's where the locals eat. It's so amazing. Yeah, I think you have all that in Dubai. I went for the best head oil massage at a
I saw
Indian
the story,
spa.
I remember.
I loved it, to be honest. Yeah. I don't think you have to be a certain blinkistic way all the time. You can navigate whichever life you want.
I mean, on the con side, yes, in Dubai, people do look at the car you drive and where you live. The first question they'll ask you is, so where do you live? Like downtown? Dubai is like, everything has a perception, right? And everything has a status associated with it.
Yeah.
What car you drive and they'll judge you from it. However, once you live there and you have found your pocket of people, then you can do whatever you want, and it has something for everyone, which I think I love. And I think London is diverse, but I think Dubai is 90% expats.
But coming back to judgment, I think it happens in Singapore as well, right? Like, which areas do you live?
I know, it's the same thing. I'm pretty aware.
You have the Orchard Road crowd and the Easters
River Valley,
and then
the
River
Bukit,
Valley and whatever not and all that. But it comes back to finding your base, your grounding. Again, coming back to brands or certain developers of who you want to, correlate your life with. It's a matter of personal self-confidence and positioning as well.
And I think perception is reality. If you perceive yourself a certain way and you show yourself a certain way, the people will believe it.
Yeah, and you attract that.
100%.
So interestingly, I was talking to another friend who is a broker in Dubai, and she said, yes, Dubai is noisy, Dubai is crowded, Dubai is loud. But if you put yourself out there, you will just attract your similarity and you will find your own tribe. And these tribe can be a very honest, trustworthy tribe. So funny, a friend of mine saw your ad actually for Dubai in Singapore, and she sent me a screenshot. She was like, who is this babe trying to come into Singapore and doing stuff?
Oh my God.
But it was really interesting, right? So I said, she's so amazing in her work in Dubai, and actually I welcome her here because I think it is like my responsibility to invite true, honest, good foreign brokers for the community of Singapore. It's my social responsibility as a broker, where I can tell a person looking at you or sitting with you at the table that this girl comes from a value of honesty, truth, and it's not just, look, we all are doing this for the money.
Everyone does everything for money.
We need an income, right? We're sitting on a table, we're spending time, we're putting in the effort, but it's different when you're coming from a place of genuine knowledge and sharing and honesty.
And not being desperate to close it. It's just you're just there to genuinely give people the red carpet experience of Dubai that they might not get because there's so many road shows happening.
You're also an ambassador of Dubai. You know, how you work, how you behave,
it's a perception of Dubai.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is why I think we really welcome good, trustworthy people into Singapore with open arms.
No, honestly,
thank you for
you've been
sharing
so
the right
kind.
information.
No, really. And I think I made a story on my way when I was coming here, and I said, Singapore has been so kind to me. And I was, I think, mentioning you as well. And it has been kind to me since the day I have come here.
And may we continue to work together. Be kind and spread the love.
No, it's a beautiful city, and I think they truly value people.
We need to get her to move to Singapore now.
I get that question, like, when are you moving? And I'm like, maybe soon. I think I have 2 homes now.
I need to sell her a home in Singapore.
Maybe. No, but it's interesting. And I think when people say Dubai is fake, I think I always tell them, like, we were a desert. And now the entire world is looking at Dubai. Like, Dubai has done something right. And we might not have that history that something like Singapore or like a London might have. And that's why you have Singapore and London to go and have houses there and be living there as well. But then Dubai consumes. There's so much inspiration and motivation that comes from the city.
Yeah.
and it keeps on building, which inspires you to do more in your life.
Yeah.
I think that's just beautiful.
I want to ask you some quick questions.
Tell me.
Okay. Location-wise, favorite top 3?
For investment or living?
Okay, for investment. Since
Investment, top 3. And you're looking at investment for cash flow or investment for appreciation?
Capital appreciation.
Capital appreciation.
Over, say, when's a good time to buy and sell in Dubai? Usually, what's the holding time? 3 to 5 years, like Singapore?
So in Dubai, the maximum benefit happens a year after handover.
Okay.
So handover is basically when the most appreciation happens.
Handover is in 3 years.
3 to 4 years, depending on developers.
So let's say a 5. Okay, let's work on a 5-year timeline. Best investment, 3 areas.
3 areas. Yeah. Okay, I'll go. Maritime City.
Okay.
Big fan.
Really?
I'll tell you why. Appreciation happens when infrastructure comes in any country around the world.
Yeah.
Not only are they building a mall, it's Omniat's first mall. They're building a Burj Omnia, which is the tallest tower in that area. They're building schools, hospitals, dental clinics, shopping mall, beaches. In Maritime City. And it's a master development.
How far is that, say, from, I'm just taking...
A downtown, 15 minutes.
Okay.
They're building in 2 roads that will be developed in 2026, halfway already done. Okay. And I tell them, in Singapore, everything is so close and people are so like spoiled with like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They're so spoiled.
Yeah.
And they're like, so how many kilometers? I'm like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It depends on what road we're in Dubai.
Yeah.
In Dubai, if you're on Sheikh Zayed or Al Khail,
it's a forever long road.
It's a long road. But if it's on a good road, it takes far less no matter how...
Yeah.
Like my office from my house is 20 kilometers. But on a good day, without traffic, it takes me 17 minutes.
Okay.
Which is impossible if there was not a good connection. So Maritime, I love Uptown GLT.
So Maritime's infrastructure is underway now?
Underway now.
When
and
would
it's
it be
a long-term plan. So if you're looking at exiting with maximum potential, you have to be very honest about exit strategies, right? 10 year is basically when the entire community, the entire thing will be ready.
Right.
So if you have the holding capacity,
for the
you hold it for 10 years and you make the most amount of money.
Right.
Why? Because the CBD, the Indian CBD of Dubai, we have multiple CBDs, which is your Gold Souk area, the Indian legacy families.
Right.
There's nothing luxury in the entire area.
Right.
They will all move to a beachside, full water view location, which is only 15 minutes from their workplaces.
Wow.
That doesn't exist. And where they live currently is leasehold. They can never buy.
Right.
So the only freehold luxury development that they can ever buy is Maritime City.
Wow, interesting.
Which is really so cool. And
so every single I'm learning something new every day.
Interesting. And I sold a 3-bedder for 4.5 million 3 months ago.
Okay.
Now 3 beds are going for 6.5.
Wow.
So
it's only Omniat. There
are 3-4 more developers. I tend to only sell the Omniats and the Imars of Dubai.
Of course. That's the insurance.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So every single launch, the price point goes up. And that's how the master developments in Dubai works.
Right. Okay.
So the sooner you enter, the better.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Love Maritime, Omniat. I love Uptown GLT because again, stats, right? CBD. They're building Burj 2020, which is the second largest commercial tower in Dubai.
Okay.
The entire GLT area has 3 more commercial towers popping up like Swed and Swede, which will rent to Fortune 500 companies. GLT is a mix of residential and commercial with 80 towers, 35% commercial. It's a CBD, another CBD in Dubai.
Nice.
The only residential community allowed is Wellington, which is Mercer House. And they're creating a 48,000 private beach with a beach club inside the towers, which is crazy.
Wow.
And they're selling at the same price per square foot as other developers, which have nothing else to offer.
What's a 2-bedroom price there?
So it's multiple prices. I've sold more than 5 or 6 units there.
Right.
It's last year.
Okay.
So I've sold a 3.2 million, 3.4, 3.6, 4.2.
So starting at about 3.5 average?
3.6 now.
Yeah. Okay.
Depends plus mains
and
layout.
Size? What are the sizes?
Ellington does 1,400 square feet, 1,500 square feet.
I know we had the conversation where you said these are really necessary now. The bigger size.
What's interesting is, Sunita, that people are relocating, right? So if you look at Imar.
They're buying to stay.
Yeah, if you look at even Imar stats, because Imar is like the godfather of Dubai real estate.
Yeah.
They don't need you, you need them is basically their tagline. The 1 beds are available, the 2 beds are the fastest to go, the 3 beds are the fastest to go.
Right.
If you look at just a year ago in stats, 1 beds would sell out day 1. And now 1 beds are remaining for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Same thing is happening in Singapore, by the way. 1 beds are not selling as quickly as the 2 and 3 beds. I think this is a post-COVID phenomenon.
It is.
More and more people want to buy bigger spaces. And I always tell them, buy the biggest of what your money can stretch. You know? People think 1 beds are good investment. In my opinion, as a broker, start with 2. If you can, really push for 2 and bigger.
But what's interesting in Singapore is most of my clients live in a 4-bed condo.
Yeah.
And that's the most common. Like all of them, if not
It's
most.
getting small, less and less now, a lot less. We have 4 beds, but they squeeze it into a 2,000 square feet. Where in
Which is
Dubai,
still pretty okay for Singapore, I think.
yeah, that's true. It
Like,
depends on area.
We don't have 4-bed condos in Dubai. So there's a different of concept, right? We have 4-bed duplexes or townhouses or
Right.
villas. We have landed, but we don't do 4-bed condominiums.
Right,
I think that's the change. In Singapore, they're used to the 3 beds and the 4 beds. In
Yeah.
Dubai, we don't have that.
Yeah.
And now when my clients move to Dubai, they rent while they buy off plan for the
Right,
golden visa.
right.
They want to rent a landed community, landed property, because we don't do 4-bed condominiums.
Coming to off-plan, so you pay a 24% down payment
Yes.
on a $2 million dirhams and more property. I was just informed that you don't even need to pay that 24% now to apply for the golden visa. I saw a post yesterday, which maybe it was very new. We can talk about that later, where it's the moment you put even the smallest down payment, you can already apply for the golden visa. Maybe we'll confirm that later. And
So even now, it is 24%. So
Yeah.
what is happening is a lot of new brokers or new people just put out posts. There was a post that you can no longer apply for the golden visa via under construction properties. And my videographer had sent it to me and I lost my mind because I've sold so many off plans. I got my assistant to call DLD right away.
Yeah.
And I said, Kai, shout out to Kai. I'm like, Kai, please check. And then she basically got on a call with the government executive and then we realized that was all fake news.
Okay.
So even today, because I applied for 2 golden visas, I'm in the process in Dubai, my team. So it is still 24%.
How much is a golden visa? Say in
Singapore, 700,000.
No. The cost to apply for a
So
golden
basically, there are multiple service agencies that process golden
Yeah,
visas.
yeah.
You can choose whichever one you like, the VIP ones, but the government fees, let alone, is around 10,000. Multiple dirhams.
Yeah.
And multiple people charge like 5,000 to 10,000 service charge
Right.
to process
So it's
it.
about, say, 20,000 dirhams for a golden visa, which is about,
For you and
divided by
family.
3 is about 7,000 Singapore dollars.
For the entire family.
For the entire family.
So the service charge is applied only once, but then you can apply for 7 people, 6 people, 5 people, whoever else you want.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Third location.
Third location, yes.
Yes.
Third location, I would either look at, there's so many, but it depends. If you're looking at Mallika, I may live, I might not live.
Right.
Something like Dubai Hills will always be iconic and prime and will always be liquid. However, Dubai Creek Harbour also has a female Burj Khalifa popping up and like a Dubai Creek Mall popping up. The only difference is Dubai Hills is already appreciated by 66.3% over the last 3 years upon the opening of Dubai Hills Mall
Right.
in February 2022.
Yeah.
So appreciation has happened,
Right.
but will continue to happen at around 5 to 7% annually.
Right.
Dubai Creek Harbour still has a lot more infrastructure coming in.
Right.
So you're looking at a lot more appreciation, but with a longer exit timeline. So as
I
an
hear
investor,
Creek Harbour is the Chinatown of Dubai, though.
it is the Chinatown of Dubai. People love it. And it's like the amalgamation of your downtown and marina.
Okay.
And it's a very quiet area so far,
Yeah.
offering you bigger
When I
spaces.
drove around there, there were quite a bit of Russians in that area as well.
I think now...
Europeans.
So now a lot more Europeans are popping over. Why? Because people love downtown,
Right.
but it's noisy and the congestion and the traffic, and it's more of a bachelor pad as opposed to a family-friendly area. And there's multiple schools near the Maidan side, which is
Right.
a area in Dubai. So a lot of families prefer Dubai Creek Harbour, which is 8 minutes away from downtown.
Right.
So now and also Creek Harbour has bigger spaces and 3 beds and 4 beds and villaments and townhouses. So families are preferring it.
One thing that I thought about, since a lot of Singapore buyers are still very new to Dubai market and they just want to kind of tip in and join the party, but not buy something too big.
Yes.
The 3 areas that you mentioned are relatively, in my opinion, on the higher side. So we're talking 3 million dirhams and above for all 3 areas to get in on a two bedroom. Now, if let's say I'm following the golden visa
The 2 mil.
number of, say, a 2 mil, what would you recommend for that?
Easy. I'll tell you why. I've been looking to buy myself.
Right.
So after a long time, my family buys properties, but when you buy for yourself with your own money, it's a different...
Smart girl. Young, smart,
You
building
need to
her
invest in
portfolio.
properties, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
And I've been looking to buy, and we're closing on the property soon as well. But I'm looking to rent and buy. And as somebody who's in real estate, you never live in the place you buy. It's common rule of thumb. You know the game. So I'm renting somewhere I'm buying somewhere in JLT because I'm looking at like the entry point, 1 million, 2 million.
You should call yourself Miss JLT.
Miss JLT. And I'm buying there because it's iconic. It's an Indian community. It'll always be in demand. And the rent is like 7-8% ROI, like, which is great. But I'm renting in downtown / Shobha Heartland. I'm still choosing where I want to be living. So I've understood that when you rent, you want to be in a community.
Right.
And a lot of families are preferring Shobha Heartland. A lot of people like myself who's quite young, single, they want to be in downtown area.
Because you just want everything around you.
It's around you, right? My office is in downtown Business Bay, so it's very, very simple.
Yeah.
But if anybody has 2 million, you live in Shobha Heartland only because after handover appreciation will happen, but it's very liquid.
Heartland is where Maidan is.
Maidan. Right. And Maidan has 3 big upcoming launches coming up.
Right.
So it's going to be an up and coming area. It's close to downtown.
Right.
It's 8 minutes from downtown. It's the only community.
I remember when I went to Maidan, I could see the whole
only
skyline.
Shobha of skyline, and it's beautiful.
And there was a flamingo.
So the Bay Creek Harbour is very close, and we have Russell Court Sanctuary, which basically has flamingos. So on a beautiful summer day, it'll all be pink.
Yes.
You'll have pink flamingos in Dubai. It's
pretty.
wild.
Yes.
It's wild.
Yes.
So a lot of things are happening on that side. So 2 million Shobha Heartland too.
Wow. Okay.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Like easy. And I would look at layouts. No brainer. But in Shobha, you look at layouts. So every developer has a different standpoint. And if you're in the market, you would know exactly what to buy for which developer. Right. With Shobha, you focus on layouts. Good layouts sell out.
Okay.
Not so good layouts will always be in supply. So when people do not know facts and be like, it's an oversupply with Shobha. No. The good layouts sell out and they appreciate a lot more. So
one more thing I heard from a lot of developers that we don't have much time left, but I'm just going to be quick. One more thing I heard from a lot of developers in my research while deciding to purchase a property in Dubai is that, work with me because I get preferential units to sell with a Shobha or an Emaar or somebody else. I realize it's not true. Okay, because I personally wrote to the head of sales on LinkedIn for a few developers.
I love that.
To ask this question. I love doing my research, right? Please, people, it's not true.
A lot of people say that. A lot of people also say there are brokers who come to Singapore for road shows and they're like, we're representing Emaar. Emaar doesn't know you're representing Emaar. You're selling Emaar and people confuse that with they are from Emaar. No.
Yeah.
They're just a broker who's selling Emaar. But the way that they picture themselves up, they just confuse people. But to answer your question, technically, if a broker has a good relationship with the RM of the developer, and if I give an EOI, and if that RM, which is relationship manager, has like 5 EOIs, and she knows that Mallika gives her a lot of business, I will still be on priority on the EOIs, but that doesn't mean I have like also a lot of real estate companies like who sell a lot of Emaar, they get exclusive floors as well.
Okay.
So it is true, but only for the top agencies or the top brokers of Dubai. But when people say I get preferences at Emaar, that's not the right statement to make. When they say my company's exclusive floor, that is true.
Okay.
And when they say I have sold this much of Ellington, because I get a bit of incentive at Ellington because I've sold a lot of it.
Right.
So when I say I can get you a discount or like a better payment plan, I'm not saying I'm going to get you a preferential unit because it's not true. I can get you a better deal because they value my business.
Of course.
So that's true. But I think just everyone says it that I get preferences. It's not true.
Yeah, but it's so dynamic. I think at the end of the day now with the markets changing so much, different salespeople moving within. I know Emaar's head of sales just moved. I've been on the market and the pulse of it. A woman took over, which is
amazing.
Woman power. Amazing.
Sunita is such a stand for girls and women around the world. I have seen her stories every single day and she has 2 gorgeous girls. And I think she is such a stand for women empowerment and she truly, truly supports any girl who she thinks is doing well. I've seen her go to events in Singapore and put out a bazillion stories on like these women founders and what they have been achieving and just supporting them. And I think that's just incredible.
Especially in Middle East where it's a Muslim male-dominated country. When I visited and I had the opportunity to go to the DIFC for the meeting and a woman headed the meeting who was the CEO, that was mind-blowing for me. To see women realtors on the ground, hustling, telling the truth, coming from a position of women have a lot of emotions, coming from intent, coming from emotion, coming from a position of truth. It just is very comforting to know that Dubai has the right representation. And, one thing before we end this conversation, I want to share something. To me, as a Singapore citizen, it seems like we've always grown up in a black or white
Correct.
way of regulation. And I always felt Dubai was very gray.
It is.
Somebody told me that has completely changed my mindset. It's not gray. Dubai is the silver lining.
I love that.
I absolutely love that.
I love that.
And I think that with the silver lining, you find your opportunity. And all the best to you, Mallika.
Thank you, Sunita. Thank you
I
for
couldn't
being
be
here.
more proud to see another real estate boss babe who's doing amazing things, who's sharing things with truth and integrity. And I wish you
you're
the very,
so
very,
kind.
very
She has
best.
been nothing but kind to me and so helpful. I met her in Dubai as well. I'm running out of time as well. But thank you so much for being here. It has been
Pleasure.
such a pleasure.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's my first podcast.
I know, I'm so excited.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're signing off from Brick by Brick. If you want to follow Sunita, I'll put her socials down below. If you are in Singapore or Dubai, please hit her up and please meet her. She has knowledge about global real estate. And on that note, I will end this podcast right away and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.